Hello and welcome, oh my god, my voice. Hello and welcome to another BookTube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. As you can hear, I've got a cold. I was bridesmaid at one of my best friend's weddings yesterday and I didn't sleep much last night or the night before, excitement and stuff. And then on top of that, just running around being all excited. And then I've also got a cold. So yeah, so this video is going to be a bit croaky, I hope you don't mind, but this is a video that I've been excited to film for a really long time and haven't had the time. Now, I've got a lovely Saturday afternoon, it's 12 o'clock now. David, I haven't even had breakfast yet. David's in the bath, he's going to cook me breakfast in a minute. And while that is happening, I am going to be doing the short story tag, try short story tag. So I've done two of these try the first chapter tags, where you try the first chapter of a book, of a selection of books you wanted, and then decide which one you want to read based on those first chapters. So I've done just one of the books off my shelf. I've done a library edition, and then this is a sort of riff on the tag where you try the first short story in a short story collection, and then decide which short story collection you're going to want to read. So I've got like 12 short story collections on my shelf that I need to get to. I picked 5 here because I think if you get any more than 5, for me, it's just a bit confusing and I don't know where to begin. I'm like, oh, I want to read all of them. So I picked 5 short story collections here. I'm going to read the first short story from all of them and then talk you through them as I go and then decide which one I want to read. Now, my plan was, as a sort of like a bit of a different one of this, was that I was going to read the first page or the first chapter, not the first chapter, that would have been too much, or the first paragraph from each of these aloud. However, my voice ain't up to it. So I will potentially read the first line. I'll read the first line and then continue to read the rest of the chapter in the old heady box. And then I'll talk you through. But I'll talk you through the short stories, what I've got here. So the first one is A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. I absolutely adore this front cover. And I bought this, although I've put a bloody smudgy thumb mark on it. This is like a hardback cover with embossed silver. Oh, it's just gorgeous, shells and everything. Kirsty Logan wrote The Gracekeepers. She wrote another short story collection, which I really enjoyed last year, called The Rental Heart. And this is, it is two ladies who are, one of them is pregnant and they decide that they will not tell the baby that is in the tum-tum any lies. So one of them tells the baby stories when the other mother is at work, and then the other mother tells the baby stories when the mother with the baby in the tum-tum is asleep. And this is just a collection of the short stories. So I'm going to be reading maybe the first story, or maybe the first like bit of it. No, the first story. The first story, which is called Cutting Teeth. So that's exciting. The next one is a book published by a short story collection published by Freight Books called Treats by Lara Williams. I asked the publisher for this a long time ago after seeing Brittany from Under the Radar Books review this on her channel. I really like the sound of it. These are sort of like short stories with no magical realism or anything, as I understand it, and they're set in the 21st century. It says here, exploring the tyranny of choice, alienation, taxidermy, relationships, their aftermath, sexual ethics and self-navigation. And that sounds to me like it will be really good, and I just love that old yellow spine. I've also got Lucy Caldwell Multitudes, which is 11 short stories. I picked this up from Any Amount of Books in London, which is an amazing second-hand bookshop which has loads of like brand new releases and proofs and things like this. This is actually a proof. I love the front cover of this, and this is 11 short stories. It says here, from Belfast to London and back again, the 11 stories that comprise Caldwell's first collection explore the many facets of growing up, the pain and the heartache, the tenderness and the joy, the fleeting and the formative, the drunkenness of things being various stories of longing and belonging. They culminate with the heart-wrenching and unforgettable title story, Multitudes. So that's the third one. This fourth one is one that I've been really excited to get. It's really heavy for a not particularly long book, and that is The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that my favourite book of all time, possibly aside from Harry Potter, is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I've also read Half of Yellow Sun by her, and her feminist We Should All Be Feminists talk. And I adore her, and I have been looking forward to reading this for a long time. I think it's such a beautiful edition. I got this from a second-hand bookshop in Edinburgh when I went to visit earlier this year, and it's just gorgeous. And underneath, the colour underneath is even more beautiful. And I've just been looking forward to reading it, but just haven't got round to it. So really excited to read the first chapter the first chapter, the first short story of that. And then the last one is a collection of short stories about sex and death that Faber have sent to me. I really like this front cover as well. This is, there's a selection of stories in here by various different people in here, people that whose names I recognise are John McGregor, Ali Smith, Claire Vay Watkins, Yi Yun Lee, Sarah Hall, and amongst other people. So excited to read that as well. So I'm going to start, as I did work my way through this, with A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. And as I said earlier, the first short story, I'm going to have to put my glasses on as well, is called Cutting Teeth. So I'll read the first line from Ruth's section, which is, as I said, the mums are telling the baby the story. And the first line is, I'm going to tell you a story. Hello. I'm just going to read for a bit.
Okay. This asparagus,
Yeah.
so I just wrap it with the parma ham and then I cook it.
You griddle it first on the griddle pan, and then you wrap the parma ham around it.
And then put it back on the griddle pan? No. Yeah, that's fine.
Domesticity. I'm going to tell you a story. So, that was A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. As I said, the first story is called Cutting Teeth. It is about a couple called Ash and Caleb, who Ash is she goes out hunting of an evening, and she brings home a dog one night that isn't a dog, it's a wolf, and Caleb's very unsure about this wolf. But he sort of allows the wolf to stay there, and Ash and Zev, they end up naming the wolf, who she sort of tries to convince people is a dog, go out hunting every night, and Ash then becomes pregnant, and it's just that sort of a story about that. So yeah, it was okay. It wasn't like, it didn't blow me away or anything. It didn't make me think, oh, I really want to read that. But Kirsty Logan from The Rental Heart, which is her other short story collection I've read, you get more into them as you go, especially with magical realism. Magical realism isn't like my all-time... I enjoy reading magical realism, but it's not my all-time favourite thing to read, so I really have to get myself into the mood for it. But this book is just beautifully published. As I said, it's like this beautiful blue with silver embossment, and then throughout the short stories they've got little symbols in the bottom of the corner which relate to the short story that you're reading. So it's just lovely. So really, really nicely published book. Really enjoyed reading that first story. And on to Treats by Lara Williams. The first short story is called It Begins, and the first line is, and so it begins. So yeah, I really, really loved that. That was brilliant. That is It Begins by Lara Williams, the first chapter. The first story. I love that. So that's a story told in the second person, documenting a woman's life from when she finishes university, to getting a job, and then meeting somebody, and then marrying him, and then divorcing him, and then maybe potentially meeting somebody else. And I really enjoy things written in second person. It doesn't normally happen. It's quite rare that I read something like that, and I really, really love that. I actually want to read on, because I really enjoyed that first story. I thought it was great. The next story is called A Lover's Guide to Meeting Shy Girls, or Breakup Records. They're all quite short as well, just flicking through here. The one I've just read was they're all sort of like, they're all less than 10 pages, but loved that, and really, really excited to read the next one. So this is winning so far, Lara Williams treat. So the next short story I'm going to read is from Multitudes by Lucy Caldwell, and the first story is called The Ali Ali O. The big ship sets sails on the Ali Ali O. Your youngest sister is singing. The Ali Ali O, the Ali Ali O. The big ship sets sails on the Ali Ali O on the last day of September. Interesting. Let's see how long it is. Oh, I've just taken a breakfast break. David just made me the most delicious breakfast he's ever made me in my life. sourdough bread with asparagus wrapped in Parma ham with poached eggs on top, and then when you poach the eggs, make them in a little cling film pocket with salt, pepper and fennel seeds in it. Oh, it was amazing. Well done, David. You pleased with yourself? He's nodding because he's got a mouthful of bacon sandwich. Anyway, while I was eating my breakfast, I finished the first short story in Multitudes by Lucy Caldwell, which was called The Ali Ali O. This is a story of a mother and three daughters, or I can't be sure if it's three daughters, three children, driving around trying to get lost, and talking about a book that one of the children is reading about natural disasters. So she knows a lot about the Titanic, and not natural disasters, the worst disasters in human history, the Titanic and things like that. It was okay. I liked the normality of it and things like that, and I liked the driving around and stuff, and the fact that the kids were just yelling to her, go left, straight on, right, and she was letting them pick where they wanted to go. So that was interesting. However, I still really, really love the first short story in Treats, so I think that's still winning at the moment. The next one, however, this could all change, because the next short story I'm going to be reading is the first short story from The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, which is one that I've been absolutely pumped for. Oh, this is the first edition as well. I might be a millionaire. And the first short story here is called Cell 1. And I will read the first. It's quite a long one. It's 22 pages. So it may take me some time. And I'll read you the first line. The first time our house was robbed, it was our neighbour Osita who climbed through the dining room window and stole our TV, our VCR, and the Purple Rain and Thriller videotapes my father had brought back from America. Well, as suspected, this was bloody brilliant. It's the first story tells of the narrator's brother has faked a robbery in her parents' house and has stolen from his mum and dad, and then gets involved in what they're calling cults at the university, which basically I think is like fraternities that have got out of hand. And then one day, 3 people end up getting shot, and her brother goes to prison for this. The police are corrupt and treat them all very badly, and it was just 22 pages of that and amazing writing, and you feel like you're there, and I just adore Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I think she's amazing, and I cannot wait to read the rest of these. So at the moment, if we keep the league table up, these guys are like level pegging. This because I love Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and reading that chapter reminded me of how I felt when I was reading Americana and how much I enjoyed it. And this because I just thought it was really great, and I like the short story, like how short they are. So at the moment, these are sort of level pegging with each other. The last one I have to read now is Sex and Death Stories, which is a collection of short stories told by many different writers. The first one is called Dr. Pacific, and that is written by Robert Drew. So I will start. It's really not very long. Oh no, it's quite long. Oh no, it's long. Oh, it's long. I think it's 14 pages long. Yeah. Dr. Pacific by Robert Drew. Don dropped dead on the sand, and that was that. So that was Sex and Death, which is a collection of short stories by many authors. And the first story was called Dr. Pacific by Robert Drew. I haven't read anything by Robert Drew. It tells the story of a lady, Bet, who loses her husband early on in the story, like at the beginning of the story, and then it didn't really do much for me. So there's also that they live by the sea, and 3 young lads went missing, although you find out that one of them was actually 60. 3 men went missing off the coast, and then 2 turn up, and then this one doesn't, and then she finds a bone on the seafront that she thinks belongs to the other one. And yeah, it didn't really do much for me. I think the trouble is with short story collections by different people, lots of different authors, is that you sort of get the short story collection because you love Ali Smith or because you love John McGregor, and then there's other things in there, and do you want to love them as much as the others? So yeah, this wasn't the winner for me. It's probably the worst of the. Not that it was bad, like it was readable completely. My two favourites were Half of a Year. Sorry. So the other two that I enjoyed but won't be taken forward at the moment is Multitudes by Lucy Caldwell and A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. My two favourites were Treats by Lara Williams and The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And I know I'm supposed to pick one that I'm going to take forward, but I'm actually going to pick both of these because these ones are really short. And I think David and I will enjoy sort of reading one aloud to one another because we do sometimes like to do that. And I think and they're just relevant and new and haven't read anything by Lara Williams before, so I really want to do that. And then similarly, just because this was fucking amazing, I want to read this and I've wanted to read it for ages, so I'm going to take these two forward. Have any of you guys read any of these short story collections? What did you think of them? Have you got any short story collections coming up that you're going to be reading soon? And thanks so much for being with me on my journey. It's now 1:30. I've had my breakfast. I've still got a cold. I might wrap myself up in a blanket, just lay on the sofa all day and read one of these two. I will see you all again on Wednesday for another BookTube video. Thanks very much. Bye.